The mind does not have the capability to energize this body. Does not. Conversely, the mind can understand, the breath cannot. My breathing can't understand what 1 plus 1 is. My breathing doesn't know what my name is. The mind can understand, the breath cannot. I hope that's clear to everyone. It's pretty obvious, but it's just being stated again. The breath energizes, does not understand. The mind understands, does not energize. Fine. Why this is being conveyed is that both this mind and this breath are dependent on each other. We need our breathing to move, to be active. We need our mind to understand what activity to engage in. They are dependent on each other. That's why this pranamaya kosha and manomaya kosha, they're so close, they're so interlinked. And what Ramana Maharshi says here, they both come from the same source, which is that Om. They're both sheets covering that Om. Without that Om, there is no manomaya kosha, there is no pranamaya kosha. That is the real source. And as we study this, we keep on reverting back to that idea that everything is divine. Everything is. Here Ramana Maharshi is saying the breath and the mind, they come from the same source. Everything. Yesterday I talked about the efficient cause and the material cause. Both are God. Yesterday I said that the world is infinite. Nothing is exclusive of it. So all of this is divine. Name, form, and essence. That essence is all-pervading. It is existence. And this is a very powerful message which Sambhaji had impressed upon me. Sambhaji had studied with Prabhuji, who many of you met last year, and Girishji and Bhamatiji. He was in Swami Ishwarananda's batch, the one prior to mine. Many of you who went to Sandeepni have met him. I know Pooja and Poonam have met him. Anyone else know who Sambhaji is? No. Oh, and right, part of this too. Sambhaji is a great bhakta of Devi. And he likes to follow certain different schools of thought when it comes to Hinduism. And I remember him telling me that in the school of thought that he follows, they are not taught to hate the world. Because sometimes in our misinterpretation of Vedanta, we think, we should reject the world, that we should hate the world. That's not the message. The message is to love the world with that right vision. No one is saying hate the world. No one is saying hate the breath, hate the mind. But understand what the breath and mind is with the right vision. Bhakti Yoga says the same. This is what we're trying to develop. Change the way you think, and you change your life. If I change my glasses and I put heart-shaped sunglasses with yellow frames and yellow lenses, then all of you brown people become sick brown people. Right? This paper becomes yellow now. So here Ramana Maharshi too is saying, don't hate the world. Understand the world and the way it is. And so the total thought for this shloka is to watch the breath. Because by watching the breath, we learn to watch the mind. If I observe my surroundings, I'm better at observing my inner world too. That's why for the high school students, whenever we had our classes, we always played the observation game at the beginning. For the first 5 minutes, I had everyone close their eyes and I would ask them questions. What is this person wearing? Who came late? What color is the ink in my pen, etc. Because if they're familiar with their outer surroundings, it helps them understand their inner surroundings too, their inner world as well. When we meet in the afternoon, we will finish Ashtanga Yoga. Now we will just offer some thoughts on a very special experience all of you will have post-lunch. After lunch, everyone in this room will participate in isolated moment. I shared with you yesterday that I got to spend a full week in a room by myself, locked in from the outside. by myself, no window, no talking, no seeing anyone. And it was a very powerful experience. So we're trying to bring that experience here. So at lunch, as soon as lunch is finished, all of you find a spot in this building or that building. Find a spot and sit there. Whether you sit on a chair or you sit cross-legged on the floor, and just be. No writing, no lying down, because the tendency will be to sleep. No writing, because that's an activity. No cell phones, no reading, no talking, no eating. Literally, sit and stare at the wall. If you want your eyes to be open, great. If you want your eyes to be closed, that's fine too. But no lying down, because the tendency will be to sleep. Why we're doing this isolated moment is to understand that inner silence that is our nature. During this time, you have 1 hour just by yourself. No walking to, again, no moving. Once you're there, you're there. That's why I'm not saying go outside, because you'll get hot and you're going to want to come inside. Just sit there and watch the mind. Watch the positive thoughts. Definitely watch the negative thoughts. Tune into who is watching this mind. Someone is watching the mind. Who is that that's watching the mind? And try to identify with that. Try to figure out who we are. This is 1 hour of solid, concentrated observation of who we are. This is an ultimate chance to regroup, like I said. 1 hour, you can figure out the purpose of life. This is the chance. Otherwise, we're just doing. Where are we going? Figure it out.
Can you tell us when the 1 hour is over so we don't have to worry about the time all the time?
Yes. If you have watches, put them in your pocket. Cell phones definitely should be off. Don't look at the calendars. Don't look outside. You and you alone. Don't make noises, or whatever to make the next person laugh, right? Just be by yourself. Any other questions about this isolated moment?
It's like you just have to let your heart flow, or you don't let everything unfold. It was a week.
You can't control the thoughts. So the true way to control the thoughts is to observe the thoughts and then realize you're the observer. So my suggestion, and everyone's experience can be is their own. Sit down, start thinking. Not about what you're wearing or about the Dark Night tour tomorrow. It's not a boat tour, it's a Dark Night tour. And just ask those fundamental questions. The most important being, who am I? When I went to see Shriram and Shivam in Pittsburgh in April, it was a 4-hour drive from Niagara Falls. And it was a glorious 4-hour ride there and back because the weather was nice. And for 4 hours I asked myself one question. Who am I? And it was such an enlightening experience. Ask yourself, who are you? And all revolving questions. What are you doing? What is life? Who are people? Why am I alive? What is this life principle? Your questions are your questions. And go with those questions. Go deep inside of those questions. And we'll be left with Acharya. Wonderment. Like when Bart is playing Ned, Todd, or Rod, or whoever in golf, and Lisa asks him, if a tree falls down in a forest, is there anyone, and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? And it puts Bart in that, that Zen state, and he becomes an awesome golfer. So in the same way, this moment is our chance to be awesome. So think about it like that. Any other questions? Yes?
Can you use the manjira so people know what the signal is that it's over?
Yes. I will walk around and I'll offer some nice messages because it'll be such a shock, have you seen The Simpsons where I think Marge goes crazy and so she's in the hospital and Homer is baking pie. No, Bart's scared of what's Krusty the Clown's sidekick? Sideshow Bob. And Bart, and he runs into the room and he goes, and he starts yelling, and it's like Homer's there to kill him, but he's really just cutting a piece of cake. So if I run around, banging the bell, the whole Mona will be lost, that experience. So I'll come and gently tap you or say something nice, like you were awesome or something like that. Any other questions? There's a lot to learn from Simpsons, okay? Don't underestimate it. It's the longest running sitcom ever. Ever. Let us not take that for granted. They're great writers. Justify my references.